All right, everybody. Wait for Joy to.
Yeah, 1 second. Can you see my screen?
I can see it. Thanks, Joy.
Okay, awesome.
So it's kind of we'll be covering today. There might be some other things we may add there onto there, but before we get started, I think what we may want to do, since we have a lot of new faces, is just kind of, I guess, popcorn style, just kind of go around the room and introduce ourselves. I'm Abraham Magana. I'm a grant manager here with Youth Development Oregon and operations analyst, and I'm staff to the youth committee. I don't know if anyone else wants to go ahead.
I'll follow that. Like Abe, I am a grant manager at YDO. I am a future ready analyst and am really excited to be staff supporting this work. This is my first time in the youth committee meeting, and I'm excited to just figure out better how YDO can be of service to the youth who share their time with us. So honored to be here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing. And I'm gonna just call on Melissa.
You said Melissa, right? Sometimes I hear Alyssa. I'm like, is there an Alyssa in the meeting? Hi, Melissa Gallardo. I am with YDO. I do the executive administrative support stuff for our division and also for our council. And usually just here in the background helping in case anyone needs any help with the meeting. I'll pass it to Joy. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. Hi, everyone. My name is Joy Snyder. I am the admin specialist with Prevention and Justice team. I have been supporting the youth committee meeting along with Melissa for a while, and I'm just really excited to see all the new faces and really looking forward to the conversations we're going to have today. And I will pass it on to Maricela.
Thanks, Joy. Hi, everybody. Maricela Ortega, she, her pronouns. I am YDC chair, and I have been on the youth committee and on the council for nearly 8 years. This December's my last bit of time on the council. I'll probably still be around. But yeah, good to see you all. And I'll pass it to Claudia.
Hi, everybody. My name is Claudia Cedeño. I use she, her pronouns. I'm with Impact Northwest. We are a grantee of YDO. We have the Future Ready and Community Investment Grants. And yeah, just excited to see what the conversation is about today. I'll pass it over to Alex.
Hi guys, my name is Alex Johnson. I am one of the members on the Youth Development Council, here today to sort of see what I can do to help and get involved. Oh, and who has not gone? I think Bethany? I'll pass it to Bethany.
Hi, this is Bethany Tramer. I'm the director for the Oregon Alliance of Boys and Girls Clubs. Sorry, I am joining remotely as I pick up my boys, and I am just here to listen and kind of learn more about what the youth committee is doing on an ongoing basis. So thanks for letting me listen in. And I don't know who else to call on. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay,
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to speak over anyone. Was someone else trying to talk?
No, I was just going to actually point on you to go next.
Awesome. Well, it's very nice to see and hear and be with all of you today. My name is Amy Hodge, and I am the new Youth Advisory Council Coordinator in the Director's Office. And so I, similar to other folks on the call, am here to listen and observe. For those who may be unfamiliar, ODE, along with YDD/YDO, OHA, and the Racial Justice Council announced that they are launching their own Youth Advisory Council. And so that is something that I am leading, and I'm very eager to know, what already is being done, because I know that I come in on the shoulders of giants. There's already a lot of really meaningful engagement happening, and I'm excited to learn from all of you. So thank you for this space.
I'll go next. I'm kind of joining on my phone, but I'm Destiny Bujasas, or sorry, Niambo. I just changed my last name. She, her pronouns, and I'm with Impact Northwest. And I think, like Claudia said, you know, we have a few YDO grants, and just kind of hearing more about just, you know, youth and how to better support them.
And I think Janelle just joined us. Hello, Janelle. We're just kind of going around, kind of just introducing ourselves. You could do that. It'd be great. Oh, we can't hear anything.
Yeah, actually, this is not her. She has a college application deadline today. So I just want to check it out and let her know. She probably listened to the recording later.
Okay. No worries. No worries. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah. And thank you for relaying the message to Janelle. We appreciate all your work on the council too.
Thank you.
So I think the next thing, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next thing on the agenda, which is just kind of a background. Like I said, I know we have some new members, and just kind of in a nutshell, give a little bit of background about the Youth Development Oregon, and as well as kind of answer any questions that any of our newer members may have, or anyone here on the call has about, our agency. I'll ask you, Sally, to go ahead and jump in anytime I'm talking as well to help kind of give a little bit of a background. I'll try to keep it short. Um, Someone else just joined us?
Yeah, Melissa, but she was just hopping back in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. So we are the Youth Development Oregon, and we've been around since about 2013, 2014. We were established after what previously existed was the commission system. When that went away during that time, we were formed along with what at that time was the Early Learning Division. So it was Youth Development Division, Early Learning Division. And we primarily serve youth between the ages of 6 to 24 and who are at risk of or already have disengaged from school and work. Where we have a council that kind of oversees us, similar to a structure that you may see in a nonprofit, right? They have an appointed council and they kind of also oversee the work that we do. A lot of our work happens through grants, advocacy, convenings now, and it's again mostly aimed at trying to remove barriers that oftentimes have prevented our youth from engaging in school and or work. Like I said, we primarily do this through our grant processes. We have a few different grants. We have our community investment grant, re-engagement grant. We have a convening grant that's also re-engagement. We have our workforce grant now, and then we also have a violence prevention grant. That's kind of what we call the youth side of the house in regards to our type of grants. There's the other side of the Youth Development Oregon, which is our juvenile justice funds, as well as part of that also has to do with monitoring. We have a compliance monitor who goes throughout the state visiting various uh, jails, basically ensuring that there's sight and sound separation. For example, if a youth were to be detained, making sure that they are separated from the adult population and that they never ever really are ever aware of each other. That's it in a really quick nutshell. There's a lot more to it. I don't know if Maricela or you, Sally, want to add a little more to that. I'm just trying to keep uh, a track of time. That's why I kind of kept it really short. If there's anything else you'd like
Yeah,
to add, please.
I'll add just a little bit. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that the youth council here, the youth committee, I should say, well, actually the entire council, they're not just the Oregon Youth Development Council or whatever it is now, Youth Development of Oregon, but they are also the state advisory group, and that's linked to our federal funds. And so we're required to have this body of folks to kind of to like, sorry, like Abraham had said, go and make sure that our facilities are meeting the standards that they're required to receive federal funds. And so we're doing that piece, but we're also, there's also like an advocacy piece, it seems, kind of like relaying like what has been working. We've had several, what has been working here in Oregon for youth. I've, since being on the council, have had several opportunities to connect with youth councils from across the states, from across the United States. And it's been really helpful to hear what other states are doing, what has worked well and what hasn't. I think there's, I'm very hopeful that we will kind of engage more in that work and hopefully get our youth, just make it easier for them to get involved there. Because I think there's a lot of amazing ideas and we could learn from some of our sister states. So.
The only other thing that I'd add is that sometimes I say that that YDO is a small state agency tucked in this intersection between the Department of Education and the Higher Education Coordinating Commission, and that some of that overlap has to do with the ages that are served. So we serve as young as age 6 and up to age 24. So we've got overlap in the K-12 system, but then because we serve up to age 24, then there is also some overlap with HEC, particularly when we think about our youth and young adults who are working on high school completion and or a GED program, some of which might be housed at a community college. And those community colleges, the oversight is the Higher Education Coordinating Commission, or HEC. And so we exist in this intersecting space where we're serving the youth that are often served by neither of those major state agencies. That's all I'll add.
I'm gonna go ahead and open up and see if anyone has any questions. I know that was really kind of broad strokes and description of the agency. But if anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. And if I can't, we have Marisela and Sally and oh, Amy has a question, looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. I am really excited to learn more about what connections already exist between our agency and HEC, especially as it pertains to like what it would look like for scholarships. I know that we are not where we want to be for compensating young people who give us their expertise, and I'm exploring all possible options for like scholarships. Someone mentioned to me that HEC sort of creates or distributes or awards scholarships, and I don't know if that's necessarily like an option. And I'm also based on your facial expressions, maybe this is not the right place to ask, so I apologize.
No, that's fine. No, it's a good question.
But you mentioned someone from HEC, and so if there is a point of contact there who is familiar with the type of work that youth councils are doing, that would be great, and I'd love to connect with that person.
Would you know, Sally?
Maybe Hillary Blackstone? I can connect you.
You're amazing, Sally. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I'll back channel you.
And I think with that, I mean, that's something that we have been discussing also previously. And I think now, right, Marisela, with some of the SAG funding, I think we're beginning to now compensate, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
So yes, and I think it's very different. When I first joined the council, it was a lot easier. And Amy, you're saying scholarships. What we're doing is it's pretty much just reimbursement. What a lot of other states have done and what we used to do was actual like paying folks for their time, not just giving them a reimbursement. Right now, it's just a reimbursement.
Got it. Okay, that was my question in the.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like back and forth, like what legally can we do as a state? And so I think right now we're just stuck at that like reimbursement. I think that we personally, my opinion is that we should really figure out how to engage youth and how to compensate and respect them for their time, because we have not done that. And I think we're underestimating the difficulty or like how, you know, the things that they have to deal with to get to these meetings or to be here and fully participate. So I think it's different for our older. We're also adults too. So I'm old now. So I'm not. I have trouble considering myself youth. But you know, for the folks on the council that are more established in their careers, I think it's very different because a lot of them are salary employees who are paid to attend meetings. So.
And it's something that's been brought up in previous, some of our previous youth committee meetings as something to kind of work towards. So it's definitely still on the agenda, and there's been challenges, I think, with our HR processes, Workday, and so we're still trying to work through it and make it hopefully more streamlined, I hope. Are there any other questions? Do you have...
Oh, and Amy, I'm just going to answer your question real quick. Excuse me, I think I misspoke because we do mostly reimbursements. That's what all of our council members are entitled to, but we recently started doing stipends. And I don't know what level. I know that if you, it depends on like, if you are a salary employee making above a certain amount. Yeah, so I don't know what the threshold is, but we very, very recently started doing stipends.
Is that, sorry, I don't want to take up too much time. Well, Marcella, I would love to chat with you separately. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll put my email in the chat and yeah, feel free to reach out.
All right. Go ahead and kind of move on to the next thing on the agenda. It's basically a recap of the DC trip recently. I'd love to hear from the youth who did attend, a little bit about your experience, actually, what you thought. I think that'd be interesting. I don't know if there's any. Were you there, Claudia? Did you go? I'm trying to think who on this call went, actually. Alex went. Okay. Yeah, I remember. I was like, I'm sure there's somebody on this call. You could speak. That'd be great to hear more a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was really great. We didn't get to meet with the Congress people. Of course, they're really busy, but their staffers were extremely receptive to our conversations. They really seemed interested in what we wanted to talk about and actually wanted to help us. We talked a lot about WIOA, and then we also brought up how we're losing, I think this is our acronym, our ARPA funds from COVID. So we talked a lot about sort of what we can do to ensure there's not a huge gap in funding for youth in the state of Oregon. But other than the advocating part, it was a really fun trip. We did lots of fun, cool things, lots of team building.
And this was part of just I should have said this earlier. It was part of I believe with the National Youth Employment Coalition, right? That was sponsoring the youth days that they have on the Capitol every
Yes.
year. And so we sent.
They were great. They really made sure that we felt prepared and really gave us the information we needed to go in and, you know, at least attempt to make change. And it was really great. Even afterwards, they had a few workshops talking about how to go back home in your own cities and towns and counties and states and inspire change. So it was really cool to get to be an experience of that, and then also learn how I can come back to Oregon and be like, hey, Oregon legislators, we need more of this.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And now it was a 2-day or 3-day?
It was 3 days.
Oh, wow.
So we had the one day before kind of like prepping, and then the actual day on the Hill. And the last day we just had a workshop, and then we ended after that. So it was a really short last third day.
Is there anything specific or anything that kind of stood out that kind of stayed with you that you're like, well, I'm glad I attended this specific thing or anything of that?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I am a new council member, so I never got to see any of my people in person. I've only seen them via video or heard their voice. So while it was super cool to get to talk to, staffers, it was really, really cool to be able to talk with my team and discuss different topics about here back home and federally and personally. It really felt like we were getting an attachment that is going to help further our council. So it was really cool. Definitely relationships stuck with me.
You have any questions, Marisela or Sally? Excuse me.
It
I'm
sounded
glad you
like
brought that.
it sounded like such a great trip. Like that for you all to be able to like pop into our council meeting was like spectacular timing. That was really great.
That was
And
perfect.
yeah, and to get to see everybody like live in action on the Hill, like it was really great that y'all went and seemed like it went really well, and for you to share that experience was super helpful. And I think that we will have another opportunity at the next council meeting, at the retreat next week, and hopefully others who attended in DC will be able to attend the retreat to be able to weigh in on like what were the most important elements, and are there aspects of advocating on behalf of youth that you learned that you could share with the council members who are excited to maybe have fresh language about advocating for youth and young adults and what that looks like, and really like we look to you and your expertise and the training that you got when you were there, that if there's something that you could share, that would be awesome. And Abe, I think
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely taught us a lot of really great things to make us better advocators. Really how to make our voice heard and not sound like it's for like personal gain. Because like sometimes when you're advocating for something, it can sound like it's because you want it, not for the greater good. So it's a lot of saying we and our instead of making it about I or me. And it hits a lot harder. But there are definitely a lot of other things that I can definitely tell the whole council I want to get out.
awesome. Looking forward to it. And Abe, I'm sorry if I just stole the next agenda item.
Not at all, not at all, Sally. It's all good. Thank you, Alex, for sharing. Actually, you probably be asked to share a little bit, you and whoever also went informally at the council meeting at the retreat, just a heads up. So it's all good. And I think Destiny, you just joined us. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, I was on the phone earlier, but now I got to my my laptop. So, but I'm with Impact Northwest. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us so we can see you.
Yeah, good to see you. And then I'll just add a little, I did not attend, but I just want to say that I've attended the CJJ conference twice now, and I've really appreciated like just everything I've learned through those conferences and how important, I just want to reiterate how important it is to ensure that our youth attend, because that's where we like have learned a lot from other states. And then also as adults, I think it's really important to attend those if possible, just because in the last CJJ conference, I was in a couple sessions where they talk about like engaging youth like deeply and not so surface level. And I think a lot of the states are kind of experience very similar things where it's like we're inviting youth to the table, but we're not engaging them seriously. And so I could totally see us here in Oregon doing some sort of a summit or something like that. Obviously researched and all of that. But in the future, I think that that's something that a lot of other states are also struggling with, and there's just it seems like a gap. And so meaningful youth engagement and how adults can do that better.
Really agree with you, Marisela. I know we had one a few years ago, so I know it's on the agenda still for the youth committee, something brought up in the past. The next thing I'm going to talk about is kind of the retreat happening on November 13th and 14th. So I actually have a draft agenda I can kind of share here. Give me a moment. Do you have it, Joy, by any chance?
Yeah, I can share it.
Awesome. So this is kind of a more detailed draft right now of kind of what we're expecting to do. And the idea for me just sharing is just kind of go through it and answer any questions that the committee may have. It's kind of just in advance. Because I know if you're a new member, you're like, well, we're going to a new meeting. Well, what's it about? What's going on? And sometimes in those spaces, it may be a little harder to kind of ask a question. But as you kind of read through this, um, please feel free to ask any questions or clarifying questions. And I also understand it is a lot of information. So, good question, Joy. Is it on the first day or the second day where they'll be sharing about their retreat experience?
I think it's going to be on the first day. I think the initial plan was to have that discussion during the lunchtime,
Okay, that was my
but I don't know if there has been an update since the last overview of this.
okay.
But I think that's the plan at the moment.
Interesting. Anybody have any questions?
I don't have any questions about the agenda.
I'm curious from a logistics standpoint, what is transportation like, or what is the process for getting folks to day one and day two?
Thank you so much for asking that question, Amy.
Oh, I am
Um,
obsessed with this. We're trying to plan a summit as well. And by we, I mean me, myself, and I.
yeah. Yeah, and I just want to say for the staff that are here, if I say anything incorrect, please feel free to interrupt me for anything in this meeting. But Amy, I can answer your question from a youth perspective. So for right now, I would say since 2020, we have not been providing transportation for youth. We do provide reimbursements. So for most youth, they have to figure out how to get to and from the meeting, which I think is a huge barrier and the reason why we've had very little like engagement with youth or just retention. In the past, we have had, and I don't know for sure if it was YDC staff or YDO staff, or if it was a separate entity, which I believe it was a third party that would go and pick up youth and take them to the meetings in Salem. And when I first joined the council, that's how it was. And if I'm being totally honest, had we not done that, I probably wouldn't have continued on the council, just because at that time I was much younger and did not feel comfortable driving that far.
Maricela, in your conversations with other states and sort of like how they're governing and supporting youth to come to in-person events, is there like a best practice beyond just like transportation stipends? I also like am thinking about logistically the timing of those and like making sure that people can get their reimbursement ASAP because, money is a thing, right? Have you heard anything that you think we should really be considering?
Sorry, I just had to make sure my daughter's being quiet. Yeah, so there's a couple, if you can provide transportation, I think let's do that. And if there's a way to make it easier for the council, for example, we have regular council members that are joining us from all over the state. And I know there's like legal reasons why this might be difficult, but having an older like mentor council member pick up a youth from their county I think would be super cool. What I've heard other folks do, and I believe this is what we used to do as well, is YDC granted a grant to a third party who would then add that was part of their grant, like ensuring that youth participate. So I think that that's a way we can do that. And then as far as like providing additional, did I answer your question or was there, okay.
Yeah, I was just curious if you'd heard something. I'm really interested in what it would look like to have like regional, like park and ride situations. If there would be, because obviously one of the challenges for providing stipends or providing any compensation to youth that I have been told, and something that I'm trying to plan around is, if they are on the clock and something happens, dot, 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 right? So any opportunity to keep people safe, while also mitigating like the burden on them to get to and from. I would just be really interested to see if there could be like a community college where there's a park and ride situation. And then I don't know what our limitations are on grants, but like maybe there is an opportunity to put out a like a transpo, like RFP type situation. But anyway, again, taking up way too much airtime. I'm so sorry, guys.
No. These are really important questions. And I think for the council to be super successful and like authentically engaging youth, we have to answer these questions. And I apologize, my daughter's trying to like get our dogs together right now. So that's why she's talking. But
it sounds like
I will
adorable stuff to have to worry about.
I will say for the park and ride, I have not heard many states using that. We've talked about like ride shares, but because if you're underage, you cannot do a ride share on your own. So there's a lot of obstacles there. What way to kind of get over some of those obstacles is change the location of the meeting. So when Serena was our executive director, she would switch the meeting. Like I will say that they were mostly in the Portland metro area because that's where most of our youth could get to easily. But we really want to like increase engagement for youth in rural areas. And so I think if we decide to do that, we should do it like equitably or geographically equitable.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've got community colleges all the way to the Idaho border. So there could be definitely some opportunity there. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this has always been one of our challenges as well. I think right there, Alex, he put in the chat that he struggled. He commutes via train, but it can be a little, I imagine the logistics of timing everything to get where you need to be, right? And then if something happens where there's a delay, well, it's gonna be late. But yeah, this is one of the challenges I think when we start thinking about how we incorporate and kind of meet youth where they're at, right? You very quickly realize that some of the structures we have in place make it extremely difficult. So that's definitely something to continue working on. Something else I want to bring up also, I was asked to share this. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the chat. And this is for our youth members actually. I can bring up the chat. Actually, the chat's not coming up. Can I message it to, let me see
Abe,
here.
can you
Yes?
share that with me and then I can put it in the chat?
Yeah, let me go ahead and do that. I just sent you in a chat message. And I'm sorry, Teams message. And it's basically the link, and once you get set up, you'll see it. But it's actually regarding the Department of Human Services right now offering spots for the 2025 Youth Innovation Summit. Does that come up? Can you share
I
it as
just
well?
put it in the chat. Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen in a
Awesome.
second. Okay.
So Brian told me to go ahead and share this with the youth members. Uh, if this is something you're interested in attending, it's a timely subject, as you can see there, around youth advocacy and direct cash transfers. So that's something, if you're interested, to go ahead and reach out to me or to Joy. And so we can go ahead and get you a spot there. I just received the email not too long ago. I don't have all the details, but there is spots open. And if you're interested, please let us know so we can go ahead and get you signed up for that. With that, I want to kind of just open the floor to any of our youth members. If there's anything they want to, any topics they want to touch on, anything they want to discuss, any questions they have. I understand it's kind of, still early on, and we're still, to be quite honest and transparent, the youth committee is still very much in development. It's still very much growing, and we definitely appreciate the support and coming on the call. It's always been it's always a challenge, but we definitely appreciate it. And any feedback or anything you have, please let us know, so we can go ahead and continuously improve and hopefully continue to get more youth members interested in being part of the youth committee. But with that, does anybody have any questions, any comments? And if you don't feel comfortable, you can always shoot me an email or shoot any of us an email as well offline.
I have a question. So how do we go about having youth involved? Because I haven't attended many of these meetings. I'm still like 4 months into this role. So I didn't even know there was a council for youth. And I know that we have a lot of passionate students that would love to be part of it. Transportation will be a huge barrier. I will say that as much, but I think they would be more than willing to jump online on a Zoom and participate.
I think that's definitely something you can go ahead and shoot me an email, or Brian, actually. Do you have Brian's email?
What's Brian's last name?
Detman or director?
I don't think so.
Okay.
The
Go ahead
one
and-
person I'm in contact is with Jared.
Perfect. Shoot Jared an email, and then we can go from there.
Thank you.
And then Claudia, I'll just add, so if you have youth interested in joining the council as like the board of directors, then definitely reach out to Brian, but also just want to let you know that this subcommittee can be joined by any youth. So if you have youth that maybe want to drop in and see like, what is this about? This is the space to do that.
Or if they just want to check it out, they're more than welcome. These are public meetings, so anyone can jump in on these meetings and just kind of listen in. They can try it out. So,
And the age range, I'm assuming, is the ages that we just serve within our grants as well, right? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
any other questions or comments? All right. Well, I want to thank all of you for attending our meeting today. And with nothing else really to
Yeah, Abe,
touch
I
on.
was hoping we could check with them about like the timing of the meeting.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that. I'm sorry, Joy. Thank
Mhm.
you for reminding me.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Now, I guess the question is this a good time to continue meeting these Friday afternoons, or I'm just mostly speaking for the youth because I know I want to try to make sure that we can meet with our youth members, giving, I know during the day, most of us are working and it might be more difficult.
Alex, what would be, is this a good time for you specifically? I just want to call you out because we don't have any of our other youth here right now. And I think the reason why we chose this initial time period is because this is what worked with our incarcerated youth that we're working with. And so now that we don't have a lot of participation, we can probably help accommodate your participation a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. This time works really good for me. I just started working for Multnomah County on the ambulance, so my shifts have been quite variable, but Fridays are a pretty good time.
And I think for Janelle also, I think this is usually a good time. I think this is the first time she's ever missed one, actually.
Yeah, she said that this was a good time because it's right after school. But like her mom said, she's doing her college application. So, and also I'll just add really quickly, sorry. Janelle is the only high school student we've had on the council. So most of our council members have been older. Yeah, but I'm not saying that as like a negative thing. It's so great to have younger participation. I think it's just harder for them to participate, just because we don't have like the proper systems in place for them.
Me, even as just, as a member of the council, having Janelle, in fact, she's a high school student, really made me happy. And then having her in DC was like almost monumental. It made me so happy that one of the youth who got to come was still in high school because, like you said, I feel like a lot of and I'm doing quotations here, youth on the council are like 22, 23, 24. So we don't quite know what's going on in high schools nowadays.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, it's we're just hoping we can get more youth members. Honestly, I think that's the hope right now. Anything to add, Sally? I think this was your first meeting.
I love this meeting. This is already my favorite meeting. And yeah, no, as I was like trying to figure out this kind of what's the story of this meeting, one of my questions was like, why do we meet so late on Friday afternoon? And then the answer was like, because that's when the youth are available. And I'm like, it's a really good reason. Let's do it then. And so I just want to assure youth who hopefully will have a chance to listen to this recording afterward, for those who weren't able to come, that it is our priority to coordinate with whatever is convenient and works for them, and that's us as an agency meeting youth where they are, and that continues to be a priority for us. And so if there are other things that we as an agency can do to support youth participation, we really want to get to do that. And we also know that we are sometimes distanced from where youth are, and that it can be hard for us to know what we need to do to change, right? That like some might say like, oh, well, this maybe isn't a good time to meet because we didn't have great attendance today. And so then, but maybe this actually is the best opportunity, especially considering this was a really big week with a lot that was packed into it. So thank you all. Super appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'll also just say, sorry, I'm talking too much. I'll just say that we're kind of in a transitional period where we've had a lot of youth members kind of fall off, or like they've reached their term. And so we really want to focus on recruitment and kind of building up. At one point, we had like a big group of youth attending these meetings a while ago. And so we're hoping to get there. It'll get better, guys.
I think with that, I think we can adjourn the meeting, and thank you, everybody. Thank you for attending, and we'll see some of you at the retreat.
Thank you.
Thanks
Have a
all.
good weekend.
You too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.